Hello, I'm Jay from Volunteer Audio, and today I'm making a video to show you how to get the absolute best sound out of your 2023.5 and newer Harley Davidson that uses that Skyline OS radio when you're using an A2B interface to put a new amp and speakers in your bikes. You're going to want to watch this video. I got a lot of steps to go over, a lot of tips and tricks that you don't want to miss out on. All right, so at Volunteer Audio, we are really pioneers in the A2B market on these new Harley Davidsons. And because we do our own tech support and we do a tremendous amount of sales in these bikes, we know a lot of tips and tricks that you may not have run into or may not know about. And I'm going to share a lot of those in this video. Even if you already have a system installed with an A2B interface and you are very happy with it and you think it's great, you still need to pay attention to this. You need to watch it all. You need to go through all these steps, because you're probably missing out on some of these things that make this system just to the next level and how awesome it sounds. Now, the last couple of weeks, we started shipping the Hertz cutting kits for these 24 and up base model bikes. We shipped about 300 of them out in about a week's time. And we got a lot of tech calls from guys who already had 2-speaker systems that they were happy with, telling us how that the rear speakers were not loud enough or were not the way they should be. And we went through all of these steps and found all of these different things were done wrong when people did their own installs. The system sounds amazing when it's right, but what we also found out was these guys running these 2-speaker systems, a lot of them were happy, but we're not getting the full output or the sound quality we would have expected here out of that system because they didn't follow all the proper setup. Now, used to, if you had a 2014 to 2023 Harley Davidson, you would go back to your Harley dealer, or later on you would have had to have a techno research tool, and you would have flashed that stock radio to fix a lot of things wrong in the radio, to put your amp in to get clean, clear output. Now, on these new bikes, that no longer exists, and we have to do something called speaker configuration. I'll get this bike up, and I'm going to start there, and we're going to talk about how to properly configure the radio for your new module to make sure you're getting the full output, proper EQ adjustability, and all your speakers sounding like they should. All right, before we go any further, I got my bike powered up. We're going to go into speaker configuration. All of our Volunteer Audio kits moving forward are going to ship with this document. It's going to cover a lot of these steps so you can have it in writing. It's got pictures. It's laid out very well. It's also going to be available at volunteeraudio.com in our install help section. And we'll put a link to that in the description of this video if you want to see that and print that as you go through this. But let's continue on with our video. Got our radio powered up here. And we're going to start by pressing this little settings button that gets us to here. Let's hit our settings gear. We're going to go to sound, and we're going to go down till we see speaker setup. It's going to say, it says audio will be disabled. Do you want to continue? You hit yes. And that's going to bring you to the next screen. Here you're going to see it says Volunteer Audio powered by SeirenHD. And this is where we're going to get to see our speaker status as well as speaker configuration. Now, when you're doing the Volunteer Audio A2B module, we don't care if you're doing the stage 2 or stage 3 setup, but we have to make sure they are selected and that this setup is completed in the right order, or you're going to think you've done this and you're not going to be able to get the correct output or correct EQ settings. Now, I'm just going to change it from stage 3 to stage 2 so you can see the difference. So anytime that it's not been properly configured, you're going to see it's going to say Start Test. If you still see Start Test after you've done this and you've went back to look at it, you need to do this again. So once you've selected your stage, I'll just do stage 3 front, stage 2 rear. It doesn't matter if it's 2 or 3, you just have to pick one. I'm going to do Start Test. Now it's going to tell you that pink noise is going to play through each one of the channels. We do not have sound coming out. You will not hear noise during this part. We did that on purpose because our A2B module, we can actually remap channels to play different places, and we did not want that to throw you off. So you're not going to hit no sound. But it says we're playing sound from amplifier 1, channel 1. That's going to be right front, so I want you to press right front. When it says channel 2, you're going to hit left front. When it says channel 3, you're going to do this right middle. These are actually subwoofers. Don't get confused. Don't press the subwoofers. Do the right rear here. And then when it says channel 4, do the left rear. At that point, it's going to say it's complete. It's going to tell you to turn off the bike for 60 seconds. We're going to do that now. And you're waiting a full 60 seconds because we're fully turning off this radio. We're letting it go all the way off. Just because the display goes off does not mean it's off. We want it to go to sleep, and we want to wake it back up and do a full reboot. At that point, we're going to go back in and we're going to see if those settings saved. So I'm waiting 60 seconds. We're going to fast forward here in time. We'll be right back to go in and check this out. All right, so we waited to 60 seconds. Our bike is back on, radio's back booted. We're going to go back into settings. We're going to go to sound. We're going to go back to speaker setup, and I want you to hit continue. All right, so at this point, we can go back to speaker configuration. We'll see that what we previously set is still saved. We want to make sure that there is for sure either stage 2 or 3 set front and rear. If it makes you feel better, do stage 3, but it makes no difference in the output of our system. We just have to make sure this is configured. By doing stage 2 or stage 3, you're saying I have the better factory amplifier, and it changes the way the EQ works inside of the radio. So now I want to back up and I want to show you something else. We're going to go to the EQ, we're going to go down to custom, and you're going to find out when it is set to stage 2 or stage 3, you're going to see 7 EQ bands here. If you only see 5, you did not do this correct. But let's go back to speaker setup because I want to show you one more thing. We're also going to go to speaker setup. We're going to make sure that it is correct here. And if we see these and we don't see start test, we did this correctly. Because if you didn't finish it, you would see the start test button there and it would not have taken. So we want to make sure that start test icon is gone. The stage we selected is there. I know this is a lot of time spent going over this. This is crucial. This makes your system go from sounding okay to sounding amazing having this set correct. But we have many more steps to go over. All right, so I already showed you how to do proper speaker configuration. We went over how to verify that it took. And now if you go to our document that we've sent you or that you've brought online and you go along with us, we're going to go on to step 4, which is talking about auto speed volume. At Volunteer Audio, we've worked really hard, SeirenHD has as well, to build the proper data into our interface so that your auto speed volume works, and it works magnificent. And a lot of you don't even know that it exists or that it's in your radio. But I'm going to show you what it is and how to get there. So we're going to go settings, we're going to go sound, and you're going to see auto volume control. This is a slider that has 5 settings. You've got 0 and then 1 through 4. On auto volume control 0, your radio will stay at wherever you have set the volume. But if you select one of these preset auto volume 1, 2, 3, or 4, the bigger the number, the more aggressive it is. It's going to automatically turn up the volume of your radio as you increase speed. Every 5 miles an hour, it's going to gradually increase the volume. So if you're sitting still, listening to the radio, and you set the volume where you can hear it clearly, as you start to ride, it's going to automatically turn itself up as you go faster so you still hear it clearly. As you slow down, it automatically turns back down. But many of you do not know this, and I didn't know it for a while, that when you have auto volume on 0, you actually have a different amount of volume coming out of your speakers than when you turn on auto speed volume. So simply activating auto speed volume is going to increase the output even at the lowest volume levels. And your highest volume of your radio does not even take place until you're going over 60 miles an hour toward the upper end of that speed volume range. So while it's sitting still in your garage or in your shop, you're not ever hearing the max output until you're actually going down the road. But turning on auto speed volume will give you more output in every scenario. So I suggest using it. It's really cool. So let's run over one other thing with it. So while auto speed volume's on, anytime you're using your volume, you're going to see these 2 different colored indicators. The orange indicator is currently where your volume is. That red indicator is where it will automatically go as you pick up speed. So that gives you the range of where the volume is going to go on your current settings. So if you see those 2 different colors, that's what that is. I wanted to explain that to you. Another thing to keep in mind, if your volume ever appears to be stuck at a quarter volume and you've got a yellow battery over here in the corner with a lightning bolt in it, you're in battery saver mode and your battery is low. It will not let you turn your volume up until you recharge your battery or let it run long enough that that battery has charged up from the stator and the voltage regulator. So if you ever see that volume stuck at a quarter volume, it simply means you need to charge your battery. All right, we're going to move on to step 5 in our list of things. Now, many of you didn't know this, and I didn't know it either because this is not common in other radios. I listen to Bluetooth on my Skyline OS because it's kind of tricky to get CarPlay to work consistently wirelessly. So I would tell you it is well worth connecting your phone via USB and getting your Apple CarPlay working on your radio because it is significantly louder than Bluetooth. Now, you will have to have a headset connected or one of these headset bypass interfaces plugged in tricking it into thinking a headset's connected to do CarPlay. But if you haven't ever experienced Apple CarPlay, you need to hook your phone up. It's awesome seeing it on screen, but it also makes a very audible increase in your total volume. So if you've got your system and you think it's not quite loud enough, using Apple CarPlay is going to take it to a whole different level of loud and clarity. And I'll tell you, it is a huge difference between just doing Bluetooth and doing CarPlay. So that brings us on to the factory software updates in the radio. It's extremely important to make sure that your radio is up to date in software, because Harley did a massive change back in February of 2025, and they changed the way the EQ worked and the way that speed volume that we just talked about works. Used to, speed volume only had 5 jumps. It didn't work well, and they did a complete remap of it. They fixed many other things. They had a battery draw as part of the bike that they addressed, CarPlay connectivity issues. A lot of things were done, including the addition of the ability to do all future radio updates via Wi-Fi. Now that update can be downloaded at Harley's website, but I would highly suggest you go back to your Harley Davidson dealership and have them perform the update if you don't have the latest software. I'm going to show you how to go into your radio, how to get to that software, and to see where you're currently at. So I'm going to back up and go back to the beginning here. We're going to go back to this home screen. We're going to hit Settings. We're going to now go to System. We're going to go to System Information. And then we're going to go to Product Information. This is going to tell you what your current Skyline OS version is. Now this radio is fully up to date, and you see it ends in 4125D. If you've got 2237D or one of the older updates in it, you definitely need to do these updates, because our A2B module is designed to work with any of them. But if you want full output and it to work its best, you need the radio with the most current software. Also, things like stage 3 settings don't exist until this update has been performed. If you decide to do this on your own, I want to warn you. Many people have decided to do this update, followed every step perfectly, correctly, used the flash drive and everything Harley recommended, and during the middle of their update, they have a glitch, a software issue that bricks the radio, and the radio has to be replaced. If you go to your dealership and they perform the update, it's going to be much easier to get them to warranty that radio if that failure occurs. If you do it yourself at home, you never know what kind of bill you're going to get stuck with. So I would go to the dealership and have them do it. Most dealerships are doing it for free. If yours tries to bill you, tell them you're having an issue with the battery drain or an issue that has to do with CarPlay connectivity, one of the things that it fixed, and they'll be able to turn it under warranty and do that update for you at no charge. All right, so now we're going to talk about our A2B interface. So at Volunteer Audio, we're constantly doing updates to make this interface better and better, adding features, but also making sure that as Harley's made changes, that we are taking full advantage of all these new upgrades. When they adjusted the way their EQ worked, we were able to make our preset EQs work much better with much more audible difference between each one. And coming up soon, I'll be making a video showing you every one of those EQ settings and what they do so that you can know visually what kind of EQ changes are happening as you go from HD signature to rock to pop and so on. But to make sure that you're getting all functionality and full use of your module, we want to make sure that our module is up to date with the latest software. Our last update that we did actually helped that auto speed volume work even better, and I want to show you how to get to check that. So we're going to go to Sound. We're going to go down to Speaker Setup. We're going to continue. And where it says Volunteer Audio powered by SeirenHD, you're going to hit Show Info. When you do that, you can swipe up and it's going to give you the current software. In mine, it's version 1.5 and the date that software was produced, April 28th of 2025. If you don't see that you have the latest software, you're going to need to do an update. And you can always go to volunteeraudio.com. At the top of our website, you'll see an update link there. It says Software Update. Click that, click on the HD A2B, and we'll have there listed what the most current software is for each manufacturer. You can then do that update either by plugging the A2B module into a computer and going to our device firmware update website, or you can download a file to a USB drive. As long as you've got our update from February till now, you can do the latest updates through the factory USB port. So you can just download that file, put it on a USB. When you turn on your radio, it's going to tell you there's an amplifier update. You can tell it to update and do the update without pulling the fairing. Makes it really nice. But if you want to see the latest software that's available, you need to either join the Volunteer Audio A2B users group on Facebook, where we post these updates as they come out, or you can also go to our website, check out that update tab, and see what the most current one is there and compare it here in your radio to see if you're up to date. Now, when you buy from Volunteer Audio, we're always going to put the most current software in it before it ships out. but as new updates come out, you're going to want to make sure that you do these updates to get the best sound out of your system. All right, so the next thing we want to cover is the factory radio EQ. And I'm going to back up here again, and I'm going to take you into the audio settings of the radio. We're going to go to sound, and we're going to go to equalizer. This is something that a lot of people have a hard time understanding and grasping as to what an EQ does and how it works. We've tried to make this really, really simple at Volunteer Audio by doing all the hard work for you in the background. So if you're using the DSP that's inside of our A2B unit, we are going to pre-configure that for whatever brand audio system you've bought from us. So if you buy one of our Hertz plug-and-play systems, it's fully programmed, it's already up to date, and we've already tuned that DSP to allow you to use all of the factory presets. The HD signature tune is by far the loudest EQ output. And if you've already done the other steps we talked about, proper speaker configuration, you've already made sure that your AVC is on, you've made sure that your phone is connected via CarPlay, you're going to have a ton of volume, way more than you actually need. So even though HD signature is the loudest, you'll be able to use any of the other presets. And again, I'm going to have a future video out soon where I cover what each one of these do, but I'll give you an example. When you go to HD signature, that is actually all of the EQ bands in the custom EQ maxed out. When you go down here and you select rock, it's going to automatically cut the treble back. Those older recordings have a lot of treble, can be ear piercing. The rock's going to give you more bass by cutting the treble and the mid down some. You can also go through, I would tell you, listen to it. Listen to the music you listen to on a regular basis and try each one of these EQs. Our ears are all different. We hear things differently, and this is going to give you the ability. And it's got, it's really cool how it guides you by the genre of music to what's probably going to be the best sounding for what you're listening to. But try them and listen to them. You could build a custom EQ, but I would always tell you, if you're going to build a custom EQ, start with this look right here. Take every one of these EQ bands that are on this screen, and I want you to start with them all the way up, all the way maxed out. And I want you to listen to it, and I want you to listen about what do you have too much of. This is going to be the bass, this is the mid, and that is the treble. So this would be things like cymbals, this would be more vocals, and down here you're going to get into those, the drums and the bass guitar. So as you feel like something is too much for you, like maybe you do feel like the cymbals are too high, or when the higher pitched voices are on that it's piercing to you, you can go in and start to cut these back. Understand, as you cut EQ bands down, you're cutting your overall volume down too. So we want to do a very minimal amount of adjustment to get it to where our ears are happy with what we're hearing, but still have plenty of volume while riding down the road. This is very important because if you come into here and you set this custom EQ flat all the way across, which I see people try to do, you're going to have a huge drop in your total sound output, and you're going to think your system's not loud enough. It's not anything to do with that, but simply the setup in the EQ was not done right. So try those. And just to cover this again, HD signature will be the loudest if you just love to have loud, but try those other ones and see how they sound with the music you listen to. Now here's something else that we've covered many, many times in other videos, but it seems to be one of the most overlooked parts of doing your install. Now I'm going to tell you, there's no one part of this that's not important. Everything we covered in this video is worthwhile for you to check, test, and make sure is right, because they all are going to add up to an amazing sounding system when they're done right. The next step I'm going to cover is the one that we get most often. We get a call when somebody says, my system is loud, but it just doesn't have any bass. And what we found out years ago is that Harley is very inconsistent with how they wire their speaker wires on their bikes. Now, I've done a bunch of new CVOs, 2023.5s, 2024s, 2025s. So far, they've been pretty consistent, taking the speakers out, replacing the speakers in the amp. Most of the time when I test the polarity, it is correct if I hook the wires up in the right place. But now you guys with the base model bikes, it has been all over the place. Using the same harnessing, pinned the same way, on the same year range bikes, we're getting all sorts of results when we do our polarity test. And when we have a speaker wired opposite from the other speakers, it still makes noise, but it doesn't make that good full tone that is enjoyable to listen to. You lose that mid bass response, and it just sounds very hollow and high pitched. So let me grab our polarity test tool and talk to you a little bit more in depth about how that test does. We'll go ahead and connect up real quick, play that test track, and show you how that test works. All right, so anytime you buy a system from Volunteer Audio, any of our plug-and-play systems, we're going to include this tool. It's a polarity test tool. It comes with a little 9-volt battery in it, and it's the last step in any of our step-by-step install videos. But so many people get so excited that it's on and it's working that they like to skip this step And I'm telling you, it's well worth doing. It's going to give you much better sound. I'm going to show you again how to do this. So I've got my phone connected to my radio via Bluetooth where it'll play audio. And I've went to YouTube and I've looked up the Volunteer Audio Polarity Speaker Test. So this track is something we've loaded to YouTube, so you can connect the phone via Bluetooth and simply play this. And when you do, you're going to hear little pops and clicks coming out the speakers. Can you hear that? It's not going to make a lot of sense to you, but if you take this tool and you hold it in front of the speakers, they're going to give you a reading. In this case, we have 3 reds and a green. We want to go to each one of our speakers. We're going to do this test. Now, you don't want to hold this over top of the tweeter. You want to be holding it to the woofer. Same thing in the front. We're not going to hold it in front of the tweeter. We're going to come down here. So you see in this case, we've got a speaker that is out from our other speaker. Let's check our other one. So you want to make sure you're getting consistent readings. This one's a little off. We're going to go up a little higher in volume. We were so low in volume, we weren't getting the right reading earlier, but here we go, 3 greens and a red. So you want to go up to the point that you're hearing it. We were actually picking up the front speakers a minute ago. But we want to consistently get readings from all of our speakers that match. If any one of these is out from having the wrong volume, the wrong wiring, you want to run this test where it's up, where it's audible. If it goes too loud, let me show you what too loud does. Most of the time, too loud will actually get you to the point that you'd only get the same color over and over and over. And today, it's not going to do that to me. Here we go. Now we're getting very inconsistent readings, as you see. So when you're too loud, it won't be consistent. When you've got the volume correct, you're going to see a consistent 3 colors one way and then a different color. So 3 greens and a red, 3 reds and a green. We want to do that all the way around at a moderate volume where we hear it pretty loud. And we're going to test it. And if anything's off, we're going to change that speaker wiring, and that's going to give us much better overall tone, much more full sound, and your system's going to sound better. Now we're going to move on to the last thing that I want you to check out to make sure, at least in this guide, to make sure you have the proper sound. Now, as you know, we haven't touched base on setting up the amplifier, setting up the DSP. We'll have other videos that cover that. This is more so the things that you need to do before you start to install the A2B module, or before you start to set up that DSP in it. We have to make sure it's set properly to the radio and then we're getting proper signal. And if you've bought one of these plug and play fully done systems that are all programmed by Volunteer Audio and fully set, you got to do these things to make sure you're getting the proper output. But we'll make those future videos covering that DSP tuning, how to install a universal amplifier with our universal A2B. But now I want to talk to you about how to get the best sound out of your phone. So most of us are using our phone for our audio. We're using apps like Apple Music and Spotify and Pandora or Amazon Music, YouTube Music, and so on. If you're using one of these apps, most of them have settings that you need to adjust. Now, a lot of you guys have Android phones, and I hate to tell you this, because Apple CarPlay is the strongest output, you're always going to be a little weak using that Android phone. Now, you may not want to convert to Apple, and I understand, but you may want to put music on a flash drive, because that flash drive music will be louder than your phone is via Bluetooth. Now, with our phones, whether it be Apple or Android, we always want to go into the settings of the phone and we want to turn off any equalizer that's in there. Now, with an Apple phone, you're going to go to Apple Music inside the settings. You're going to go to apps. You're going to go to the music app, and then you're going to check it out. So I'll screen record. We'll show this on screen, and we'll go through that process real quick, making sure our EQ's off, and then there's some other settings we need to adjust as well. All right, so we're going to start in our settings menu. And I want you to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and I want you to select apps. Once you do that, I want you to scroll down till you find the music app. Once you have found the music app, I want you to scroll down to where you can see your EQ. We want to make sure that our EQ is set to off, but we also want to make sure that this other option, sound check, is also turned off. This is really important. Your phone's total output that's fed to your radio is greatly changed by this setting. It will take the loudest song in your playlist and the quietest song, and it does what they call normalizing or sound checking that volume, and it cuts your output down. When you cut the output down on your phone, you're also cutting your speakers down on your bike. So we want to make sure that we turn sound check off. Now I want to show you another thing that a lot of people don't know is that we have similar settings like this in other apps like Spotify. So I'm going to go over to Spotify. Let me bring that up. In Spotify, you can go to your account and you can go to your settings. And under settings and privacy, you're going to find that there's an area here that says audio quality. A lot of you are going to think that's where I'm going to go in and adjust it. If you go to audio quality, I'm always wanting to set this to where we have a high quality audio from however we're streaming. The more high quality, the less compressed it is, the better bass, the better treble. But once you go through here and you look, you'll find out there's nothing here about EQ. But if you go up to playback and select playback, you'll find out here we have a setting called enable audio normalization. Spotify does the same thing as SoundCheck inside of their app. They normalize all the volume, cutting everything down, unless you turn audio normalization off. So if it is on, which it comes preset on, I want you to turn that off. It's going to give you much louder volume out of your Spotify app. Now, Pandora can or cannot have this option depending on if it's on Android or Apple, if you're paying for premium or not. So I definitely would tell you to look inside of there. And you guys with your Android phones, I don't have one, so I can't show you, but I always take our Android users' phones, I go into the settings and I search the word equalizer, and I make sure the EQ in the phone is turned off. By doing this and making sure the volume is all the way up on your phone, you're going to get the most output from your phone to your bike. Now, without having options like Sirius XM, you're stuck on these bikes with either FM or your phone, and that's the only difference you're going to have. And with this phone, we definitely want to make sure we're getting the maximum output on it. All right, so thank you for making it all the way through this. I'm sure that at least one of these things were wrong in your install, and I hope you found it, and this video was of great use to you, and your bike sounds even better than it did. If that is the case, please comment below. Let us know what you found in your bike, what made that adjustment or change. If you have another tip or trick that you have found out in your bike that maybe we haven't covered, definitely comment below, let us know about it as well. We're always learning about these new bikes. It's such a new technology and it's unlike anything before. All right, so in summary, let's go over a real quick rundown of all the things we went over and what we need to make sure of to get the best sound out of our bike. First, we need to make sure that our speaker configuration in our radio is correct. We need to make sure that our auto speed volume is turned on. Either 1 through 4 is going to give us much greater output than leaving it on 0. Using Bluetooth versus CarPlay is going to be stronger, it's going to be louder. And yes, Volunteer Audio is working on our own headset bypass. It's much better than the ones currently on the market. As soon as we have those out, I'll make another video. I'll let you know about it. That's coming soon. Outdated radio firmware. If you have that old firmware, you definitely need to do the latest updates in the radio. We always recommend going back to your Harley dealer and getting that done, just in case there is an issue that they can take care of it. Now, after you've done the update that came out in February, it's all done through the air via Wi-Fi from now on, and then you don't have that risk of breaking your radio doing your update. No more need to go back to the dealer then. Also, making sure your A2B module has the latest update. We've been producing these modules for almost a year now. It's amazing. We were the first to market with it, and as Harley's made changes, we've made updates, and we're continuing to make it better and better. And I know we're way ahead of the competitors in the A2B market and having the best overall sound. We're going to keep doing that, and by keeping up with those updates, it's going to make sure that you have it as well. And we've made that easy. Now you can update through that factory USB port once you've done those updates that we came out with back in February of this year. Also, making sure your EQ is set properly. You don't want to be on a custom EQ set flat. You're not going to have enough output. Making sure you use one of those presets or you build a custom EQ with all those bands maxed out to begin with, like we went over earlier in this video. Speaker polarity issues are a huge problem. If you don't have one of these tools, they are cheap. The video is easy to play. You can check out that speaker polarity, and if you have a backward speaker, it's as simple as unplugging the wires, putting them on the other terminals, and you're going to correct that and have better sound. Last but not least, for listening to music from our phone, so important that we set up that phone properly, that we get quality music from quality apps, and yes, paying for some of these really increases the sound quality of your system. You got a beautiful bike you spent a lot of money on, you've got a great audio system. Don't cheap out and do free music. Get some sort of paid program, but make sure you've got audio normalization, sound check, EQs all turned off in the phone so you get the most input to your radio. All of these things I think are going to make a big difference. I know that we're running into this over and over in tech calls. This document is available in the description below for you to download. You can also find it in our install help at volunteeraudio.com. Hey, and maybe you haven't done one of these systems yet. You're thinking about it. We have amazing plug-and-play systems at Volunteer Audio. Go to the plug-and-play amp and speaker tab at the top, select your bike, and we'll have all sorts of options at different price points to give you a great sounding system that you can easily install with our step-by-step install videos. If you need help on your bike, your build, your budget, you want to talk to a knowledgeable salesperson, give us a call at 1-844-30-AUDIO. We'd love to talk to you, help you get the right system the first time. We don't want to spend money and then regret it. Also, comment below. Again, let me know what you think. Let me know what you've done with this video, how it's helped you, how it's fixed something. Let me know about your experience. And then like this video. By doing so, it's going to move us up in search results. It's going to help other people. We make these videos free. We don't charge anybody to use them. And we love it when people get to take advantage of that and we get to help them make their audio system sound even better. Subscribe to Volunteer Audio for more information like this, new videos about the latest in Harley audio and accessories for your bike, step-by-step installs, new product releases, information on updates as they come out. If you want to be the first to know, you need to subscribe to Volunteer Audio on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. And if you're an A2B user, you have one of our A2B interfaces, make sure you go to Facebook. Join the Volunteer Audio A2B users group. That's a great resource to talk to other people that have these same systems, as well as us keeping you up to date on the latest about your interface as those updates are released or as new products come along. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this helped you. I hope it's blessed you. And as always, God bless.